Another milestone has just been surpassed, and by that I mean the 6,000 subscriber milestone. I just want to start today's video off by saying I really can't appreciate you guys more than enough for the amount of support that you guys have been giving to me. From the bottom of my heart, it really means the world to me that I have come a long way to get all of these entertaining reviews and other forms of videos out specifically for you guys. And now that we have surpassed 6,000 subscribers, why not give it a little bit of a special occasion with the Tier 10 German collector tank destroyer, the Waffen F1.0. This is a brand new vehicle that has just been introduced as a part of the after party event that's just been introduced after 2025 has made its initial appearance. And apparently, since this vehicle was originated on World of Tanks PC and on console at the same time, it also carries two variations of guns along with that. But nothing compared to the sheer power of these two guns that are featured on this vehicle on Blitz. You have a 5-shell auto-reloading magazine that has an average reload of 2801 seconds, dealing about an average of 340 to 300 per shot, pretty much when you're running your standard and premium ammunition. And then you have the big bonking gun, to which you would have the same reload, but you would have a higher damage output, and you would also carry 3 shells, only 2 deducted from the original one apart from that. And in terms of the armor profiles, this thing is sitting at 48 on its turret, and 185 on its hull. And upon further consideration, this is what the official armor profile looks like. The turret, of course, is pretty much just going to be an overmatch regardless against standard and premium ammunition, as it's too weak at about 70 to 40 millimeters thick in most cases. You have a troll upper plate that which you can't really overmatch as standard ammunition, as it's upwards of about 280 to 290, but when I'm running my heats, that's where it's all going to change. But when this vehicle is using its 6 degrees of gun depression, this would only account for the front. You can see that now when I plop on my heats and my calibrated shells, it now thickens it up to a point to where this thing is pretty much non-vulnerable to any forms of ammunitions whatsoever in that regards. And, like I said before, the 6 degrees of gun depression that this vehicle has only accounts for the front. But when I go to the side of the vehicle, and now you can see that this thing surpasses at 8 degrees of gun depression. Well, it doesn't really account that much as well for the armor profile on the other hand, but now you have more spots to where you can HE the turret, and surprisingly enough, not the side of the vehicle, upwards of 82 for the full-on side. Even the track wheels are actually pretty thick as well to be withstand by the majority of HEs. You got this part of the turret, that's 49, you got these two little cheeks right here, upwards of 52, and the underside of the gun mantlet, even the upper part, are easily able to be overmatched. And then finally for the rear, the back is nothing, and the full-on back is 47. And regardless, you are able to HE this vehicle anywhere and do the maximum. That's kind of the unfortunate part, especially when you have something that's capable of housing maybe a couple of soldiers, because I would pretty much pencil this thing as a house tank because of the design of the turrets. Along with that, this vehicle carries 2 special consumables. One of them is reticle calibration, which will decrease your aiming time and dispersion factors to a point to where you are almost guaranteed to hit the majority of spots to where exactly your aiming reticle is aimed at. And you also have shell reload boost, which will deduct your intra-clip reload time to a point where you're able to dump your shells much faster than originally. Along with that, this pretty much accounts for every autoloader, is that they all carry improved ventilation. Pretty much will improve your view range, your DPM factors, along with your magazine reload, your aiming time dispersion, and pretty much yada yada yada. You get the idea in terms of that. So, let us go ahead and demonstrate some fairly solid gameplay in this vehicle and see how we can fare well. And just like that, we are loaded on into our first battle. And in terms of their TDs, they have a E3 and they have a 183 along with that. So, let's go ahead and see how we can fare well in this battle. Now, the thing that you want to be careful of when you're playing the Waffle is that you got to kind of play it passive-aggressively. And what do I mean by that? Is that you're pretty much just sitting in the back relying on the majority of your heavies to take some of the hits for you. So when your enemies do fire, that comes a point to where if they are planted, if they plant their vehicles out in the open, then you can just rely on your auto-reloading factors in order to get the job well done and dump a significant chunker of damage into your enemies. Alright, so let's go ahead and wait right over here as the 60 We got 2 AFKs. That is actually really surprising. But, oh, never mind. The 57 Heavy resurrects. So, looks like the 60 already got spotted, which is already a good sign that the enemies are over toward this side of the map. So, I'm going to head on over with my YAG. Just to kind of play a little bit passive. Just to wait and see if any of these enemies are spotted out over here. Looks like a Leopard is coming on out in the open. We also got the WZ right off to the side. Not able to get a tap into him, but it looks like that the Leopard 1 is probably going to aim himself out in the open. We got a 50 TP off to the side of us as well. There's the Leopard, alright. And we also got the WZ121. Alright, this looks like a pretty weird matchup, but the 50 TP is making a very aggressive maneuver apart from his behalf. So, we'll just have to wait and see what this guy does, or ends up doing, I should say. But, at the same time... Oh, there's a 183 off to the side. That is something I do not want to deal with, unfortunately enough. So, we got the WZ121 off to the side, and... yeah, this is a little bit of a weird situation, I'm not going to lie. If my YAG were able to poke that 183, then maybe I would probably get a chance to BADONKER him with all 3 of my shells in my clip. Well, it's unfortunate that the 60 TP managed to bounce the... Alright, we also got the Yo off to the side. Looks like he's looking at us at the moment as well. And he's also kind of relying on his side scraping capabilities, so let's just wait and see. Oh, we can actually hit him in a scrape right there. 478, that's a nice shot apart from that. Let's go ahead and do a second tap into him. I don't really care if he hits me apart from that. Unfortunately, bouncing the third one, but that is totally alright. And now the 183 is coming out in the open, so now I have to rely on my auto-reloading capabilities. Just stay in this spot right here for as long as I can, so I can guarantee maybe the slightest bit of damage dealt possible to this enemy 183. Alright, we also got the 50 TP off the side. Oh, 183 fires, so we got... Oh, YAG. Oh my gosh, bro. Ah, damn. Alright, well, I guess I'm gonna have to rely on taking care of this enemy Yo, for example. So, let's go ahead and do 1. Let's do 2. And he's dead. Beautiful. And we also got the 50 moseying on through. Let's do 606 into the side of his vehicle. And like I said, this is where this vehicle can become most deadly, especially when you're able to pin and do the maximum amount of damage possible with the 3 shells that you carry in this deadly clip. Alright, so let's go ahead and mosey on upward just at the slightest bit. We got the enemy Kron off to the side. We also got the enemy T110E3 who unfortunately gets cleared. So let's go ahead and mosey on up. Our shell is reloaded once again, and it looks like the majority of their enemies have been taken care of apart from their mediums. I don't know why this guy ended up pushing me off to the wall. Terrible teammates at their finest, I should say. So let's go ahead and demonstrate yet again what the sheer power of this gun is able to be capable of doing. Especially towards a poor enemy Kron that's over here off to the side. So, let's just go ahead and mosey our way over towards this enemy Kron and see where he's at. He's probably like somewhere within this vicinity. Oh yeah, and we got his rear, so that's actually quite surprising. There's an 848 chunker into his vehicle. Let's go ahead and get another tap for 622. And let's go ahead and fire again for 522. And just like that, he is out of the game. And just like that, that is what the sheer power of this vehicle is capable of doing, and how reticle calibration can contribute to the majority of your shots being hit exactly to where you are aiming at. And that is a fairly solid victory, almost breaking past the 5,000 damage mark. To which it is actually pretty rare to see this tank occasionally do this much damage, unless if you're a good player that's within the hands of this thing. So, we were still able to pull a second class out in this one, surprisingly enough, and put up some fairly solid stats, doing top on the team in the process. Alrighty, so now let's go ahead and plop on into our second battle and see how we can fare well as well. So kind of in comparison to this thing on Blitz compared to its PC and console counterparts, the guns are basically the same on PC and console, to where you would have one shell that's capable of only holding 4 shells, doing about an average of 540 per shots, along with the second gun that only carries 3 shells, doing about an average of 740 damage. This is pretty much the identical variation of that that's only penciled into the Blitz variation of World of Tanks. So here we are at our second battle. They have a YAG and a Object 263 in terms of their tank destroyers. Alright, so let's see where my team is going to go over on this map. So it looks like we're going to head on over to the left once again. Looks like that our mouse is going to come in support of us, which is really good. So let's just go ahead and spot out the majority of enemies that try to cross, or hopefully over to this side of the map. This is a really popular spot for the majority of heavies to be planting themselves in terms of that. Once they already have their enemy bat chat and our Sheridan actually gets kerblunkered, that is highly unfortunate apart from his behalf. So let's just go ahead and wait right here and use our passive aggression to the best of our ability when it comes to this vehicle. Although it has 0 armor on its turret and it can be HE vulnerable, especially when you have a high caliber gun. So, it looks like the Yag is up top now. We also got the Mouse. Ooh, here comes the majority of their enemies. To which we already got the Patton already coming on through. And we already get a 623 chunker into his vehicle. Alright, we're just going to wait once again to see if anybody else decides to want to cross this little spot. Looks like the 263 is going to do such case. Unfortunately, bouncing the second time, but that is totally alright. We're just going to wait right here. We got the Project Comp Panzer. And able to get a nice 480 tap into the side of his turret, to which he did low roll and fire a heat shell just in case, so he can guarantee the pen on my turret. Actually kind of unfortunate apart from his behalf. He could have just fired AP and still penned me. But that's the problem, especially when a new tank comes in the game. You don't know what its weak spots are, unless if you pay further attention to its stats. Alright, well, we got the enemy Super Conk out in the open. We also got the Project backing on up. Unfortunately, not able to get any further taps into them. Got the Super Conk once again, and it looks like the Patton is going to try to escape. And we are able to do another 609 into the rear of his vehicle, I should say. Pretty much not the side, but the rear, I should mention. We got the 263, we got the Moishin. We're actually in a really good spot trying to peck these enemies off in case they end up backing on up and such. We got the 263 right off to the side. Let's go ahead and blind fire right over there. Wow, he actually hits that. That's actually quite surprising. Well, we got the Moishin coming on through as well. Let's go ahead and hit that little cheek right there for 510 to guarantee the pen on that. Aw, beautiful. All right, and it looks like that we did manage to hit that 263, surprisingly enough. Which now he has brought back down a quarter of his hit points and now is deducted even further after the Mouse got that hit into him. Unfortunately, our Vickers and our Sheridan decided to want to YOLO for no reason, and now they are out of the game, unfortunately enough. We also got the 263 out to the side. Let's go ahead and back on up just a little bit, see if we can maybe take care of the Super Conqueror right over here, as it looks like the majority of my heavies are trying their best to see if they can take care of him in the process. We also got the Moishin off to the side. Let's go ahead and see if this guy is going to poke, which it looks like that he might. Alright, so he's right up on the side right there. Oh, we got the enemy 263 we can maybe spot and get a clear into his vehicle. That is beautiful. Alright, let's go ahead and mosey on over towards the enemy Moishin then and see if we can get some nice taps into his vehicle. He is clearly not eyeballing us. There's 530 hit points out of him. And there is another one, and for a fire. Oh, and he's still going down. Come on! 1,059 combined. Oh my gosh. What a powerful beast this tank is. Well, it looks like that we're going to lose this, but it's not necessarily our fault. Showcasing the sheer power yet again of this deadly TDE. Alright, well, we got the Super Conk off to the side. Let's go ahead and see if we can maybe get a clear into his vehicle real quick, as he is pretty much out within the open to a point to where we can most certainly try to pen maybe 1 or 2 shells into. Oh, interesting. And yeah, freaking Yak spotted me, unfortunately enough, and he ended up getting an HE into me. That's full health, by the way, I should also mention, but that was kind of unfortunate. But we still managed to withstand our own and do another fairly solid chunk of damage. It's unfortunate that our team couldn't withstand the majority of enemies that were trying to come across them, especially for our lights, because they just did a terrible job YOLOing in terms of that. And we pretty much just get full health twice. That's kind of the only downside with the vehicle, and what you gotta most sincerely be careful of is that when you plant yourself out in the open to where TDs can pretty much just be vulnerable to HEing your turret without a hassle, then that's pretty much what happens. We were full health and we got 2-shotted by an enemy Yag and a Bat Chat, which is unfortunate. But it doesn't take away from the fact that the sheer power of this vehicle is actually extremely deadly, especially when you can perfect it to the best of your ability. Excuse me. Pardon me, I just ate before this. So, another 4,000 damage, and apart from that, we were easily able to do top on the team. And oh my gosh, this team, bro, it's so crazy. But we're going to go ahead and plop into game number 3 then. Forget about that mishap apart from the second game, and see if we can put up just as good as a performance in the third game. Demonstrating yet again what the sheer power of this vehicle with the triple shot is most capable of doing. So we are going to be waiting on into queue right here Man, I would have expected it to be much faster than this. Oh, there we go. And set it as it was. Perfect. So, in terms of the TDs, they have a Foch and a Minotauro in terms of that. So, let's go ahead and see how we can fare well apart from this. I don't really know if this is probably a winnable one, considering that we have a stock Tortoise with a player name. He's probably going to do the most damage in this game by the looks of it. The most skilled players are the ones that don't even have a username. Whoa, crazy. Alright, so we're just going to mosey on through right around over here and see if we can maybe outspot the majority of vehicles that maybe try to cross over to the hillside, or if anybody tries to poke themselves over towards this little side of the map right over here. So it looks like that we got a 1-2-1 already coming on through. It looks like the majority of their enemies are already coming on over towards the side over in town. So it looks like we have an IS-7 that looks like he's playing or making a very aggressive maneuver. There's 515 out of his vehicle right there. And there's another 501 into his vehicle. Alright, and we also got the Minnow off to the side as well. So, let's just go ahead and wait to see if they're going to poke. I'm just going to back up just in case that this IS-7 spots me. Yeah, F me, right? Yep, that's unfortunately what you get to deal with, especially when you're coming across a Waffen F1.0. Alright, well, we got a 30B coming on out in the open right there. Ooh, 523 just before he could get out of that, or showcase himself out in the open at the last second. That's what I meant to say. Anyways, reloading our clip once again. So, we also got the, what was that? I think it was the Pergetto that's coming off over to the side of the map as well. IS-7 is still remaining stationary in that same exact spot. Yep, Comp Panzer 07 PE ends up going that way. Alright, let's just go ahead and wait to see if this IS-7 is going to poke once again. Probably by the looks of it, he might. Alright, and the Minnow ends up moving onwards, so that's kind of unfortunate part from his behalf. We're just going to kind of wait and see if this IS-7 is going to poke once again. There's a 487 chunker into his vehicle. And there's another one for 420. We're just going to back on up, and he does miss us apart from that. Well, I'm sorry, buddy. That's what you got to deal with, unfortunately, in terms of that. Alright, well, we got a Foch. I'm going to wait for him to showcase himself. Just like that for 557. And yet again, even when you are camping in this thing, it's basically just farm fest for this vehicle. Especially when using reticle calibration to perfect yourself from guaranteeing the pen into your enemies. Alright, so now that we are at a point to where the majority of their enemies are low health, except for the Pergetto C50, we are just going to mosey right on through over here and see if we can get some nice taps into him. Okay, this hill, on the other hand, pretty much just wanted to prevent me from doing so, and it's like, no, Tico, you are not going to get any further damage out. We are going to screw you. I gotta love wargaming and their cute little shenanigans at times, but that's totally alright. Well, we got the Minnow already spotted out over here. It looks like that we can't spot him out in the open. Let's go ahead and get a miss, unfortunately enough. But the good news is that, okay, that's actually quite interesting. Alright, and we can't get the clear name apart from that, so that's actually kind of neat. So we got to reload again in 20 seconds, but that's not really going to be enough in order to guarantee a clear into this enemy prog, which is totally alright, and I can't really complain. Yeah, this is basically just Farm Fest at its finest. This one, we pretty much just sat in the back of the map and relied on our gun and dispersion factors to pretty much do the job for us, and we were still able to break past 3,000 damage, doing 3364 in this one, pulling out a third class, and surprisingly doing top on the team for a third time. So I should say that the Waffen is a fairly deadly tank in the hands of a pretty skilled player. I wouldn't possibly say, apart from the second game, that I made a pretty solid move trying to clear that enemy Super Conqueror. That was just cockiness apart from my behalf because I got too greedy. But you pretty much just got to play this thing passively aggressive. And would I say that this tank would be worth it, considering that it's a 0.3% drop chance with the trinket keys and a 0.1% drop chance when you get it with key cards out of these lockers? Most sincerely not. It would have to cost you at least $120 in order to guarantee that you're pretty much just going to get this thing hands-on in your garage. So guys, please don't be stupid like I am or a degenerate that wastes life savings in this game and save your cold-hearted cash for more important stuff that you have going on. Hopefully you guys did end up enjoying today's video on the other hand, and if you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and make sure to turn on those bell notifications while you're at it so you do not miss out on any new videos. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out, y'all.